Good evening. Welcome to the Villa View. It's time for a Luke Live Lounge. Max Stokes from Villa on Tour joining me. And full disclosure, I've made absolutely zero notes for this show. Max, exactly the same. So we're just going to have a little chat about the last few days and see where the show takes us. Max, how are you?
I'm really good, mate. Buzzing after the last couple of days, going down to Villa Park, and a couple of wins as well. Can't complain. I'm all good, mate.
Yeah, getting a bit of normality back in lives is really, really important. And again, full disclosure before we start, Max and I are obviously both season ticket holders. I mean, Max is about 12 years old, so he's not been going as long as me. But, I've had a season ticket since I was 7. Max had a season ticket a while as well. We were not fortunate enough to be drawn out of the ballot, but due to links with people like Luke Roper, who obviously sponsors this show, we managed to get ourselves 2 tickets for the game. Now, it's not lost on either of us how fortunate we were to be able to be there on Sunday. And then obviously we were able to go on Monday as well. So just wanted to clarify that before we started. Saw a few tweets knocking around at the weekend. So just wanted to explain ourselves a little bit. Obviously, we're in a really fortunate position and we both really, really appreciate it. And we're really thankful to the Luke Roper team for sorting us out. But how good was it to be back, Max? I mean, it won't be the same until every single fan, all 40,000 are there watching the games, hopefully, fingers crossed, in August. But it was a nice little warm-up and just a great day. And as I say, great to have some normality back in our lives and be back doing what we love.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fantastic. And, throughout the day, you could tell there was just something missing because it wasn't full on 40,000 people there. And I think it won't even compare to when we are hopefully back in August and there'll be a full stadium, because I think that would just be another level to what it was on Sunday. But even still, Sunday was special because it had been so long. And just like you said, we were so fortunate, me and you, to go. And I think the 10,000 people were. And it was a great day as well. And for Villa to get the win and play so well, it was just absolutely fantastic. And some of the atmosphere at the time, sometimes it felt like there was 40,000 in there. So it was a real honour to be back. And it's, like you said, hopefully normality's on its way. But yeah, what a day.
Yeah, because we're both Holt End boys, aren't we? We're born and raised in the Holt End, and we were obviously sat in the Trinity on Sunday. The atmosphere coming from the Holt just sounded. I mean, the atmosphere was good in the Trinity, but the Holt sounded like it was full, didn't it? It was absolutely rocking in there.
Yeah, I think you can sort of appreciate it more. Like when you're in it, it's
Yeah.
fantastic and everyone around you singing it. But when you're not actually in it, I think we were quite close to it as well. So
Mm.
just to look over at it and hear the noise, it was unreal. And like I said, it did at times sound like it was full. So it's so exciting to think what it could be like when it is actually full. Because I think for some of those players that haven't played in front of full Villa Park before, Martinez, Watkins, Cash, etc., they're going to be taken away about how good it is. And everyone says, "Oh, Jack's told them how good the atmosphere can be," but nothing can prepare them for what it's going to be like. Hopefully in August, but yeah, that's going to be a special day when we're all back at Villa Park. That's for sure.
It was quite weird, wasn't it? I mean, I feel like we're rubbing it in a little bit that we're there, and that's not our intention at all. But there's people who watch this who are abroad and wouldn't be going anywhere. There's people who obviously will want to know what it was like. So it was weird, wasn't it? Walking down there, and there's a bit of an eerie atmosphere because of COVID. It's not as busy as it normally was, but kind of when you got into the stadium, it did feel like only like yesterday you were in there. I mean, on Monday it was only yesterday since we were there, but do you know what I mean? Like when we walked in, it was like we'd never been away. It was weird, wasn't it? But we both, I know, have missed it so much and missed having it in our lives.
Yeah, there was something weird. Like you said, like once you're in that concourse, you just recognise everything. Everything's comes normal to you. But yeah, just walking up to the ground, it just felt normal. Like walking up to the ground with thousands of other people. Obviously, there was significantly less people than there normally is, but a little bit more complicated as well with the access gates, and there was more
Yeah,
stewards, and they have to check what's in your lunchbox and all sorts of weird things like that. But no, once you're back in, we've all pictured what it would be like. Like before we went back on Sunday, people would have thought about, oh, what it's going to be like when we get back. But no, it just felt normal to be back, didn't it? And it was absolutely fantastic. And I can't wait to be going every other week. And hopefully it will go back to normal soon, man, because we need it, don't we? We need it because it's such a massive part of people's lives. And just to get back to it as well, it just gives everyone that lift. They'll go back to work on Monday morning with just that smile on their face because they went back to Villa Park and we got a result. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely brilliant when we are back, hopefully in August.
yeah. I mean, for those that do want to see what the video is like, it's not every day I'm going to point you towards Villa on Tour to watch a video. But Max's vlog, we did a vlog at the weekend for Villa on Tour, and it does give a better flavour than us sitting here and verbally explaining it. But one thing I did want to talk to you about is just the people aspect of being back. But I haven't seen you since Wembley. That would have been the last time I saw you. I don't think I've seen you since for any reason. Obviously, we speak quite a lot about Villa, but just about those relationships that you build up that you only have through the Villa. You only see people through the Villa. I mean, I've watched every game on my own, sat at home since we've been in lockdown. I don't live in Birmingham, so I can't meet up with other Villa fans that are going to watch games. I sit at home and watch it on my own. Again, just being around people, being around the people that you haven't seen for 15 months. I mean, we went to the pub before the game. We bumped into the Bedford Lions on the way into the ground, and it was great to just be around all the excellent Villa fans and see people that you see at the football that you used to seeing every other week in your life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably one of the best things about lucky enough to go to games every week, and especially the away games as well, just seeing people that you don't see during the week necessarily. You don't even know their name. You just see their faces all the time at the
Yeah.
football, and you can have a chat, you can have a laugh with them like your best mates. And it's absolutely fantastic to be back and see all those familiar people. And even when you just see them for the first time in 15 months, you can just hit it off and have a conversation about the Villa, and everyone's got a smile on their face, and it just gives everyone that lift, like I touched on. And like I said, going to away games, going to Villa Park and recognising these people that sit around you and things like that, that is probably up there with the best things everyone talks about, celebrating goals, watching attractive football, but going to games and seeing familiar faces and making new friends through the Villa, that's top notch. And like you said, on Sunday, where you saw these familiar faces and meeting up with people that you haven't seen for so long, it was brilliant, and it was probably one of the highlights of my day. It was great.
Yeah, because I think when we get back to away games, I think that's going to be a big one. I mean, you go pretty much every week away from home. I get to as many as I can, maybe 7 or 8 a season. But you can have an away day, and Villa can be shit. But you can still have a great day because of the people. Home, you want to. For me, I'll go with my dad at home, not with friends. I go usually I'm with my dad. I want us to win at Villa Park every week. But away days when they come back, that's going to be really special as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think me and the lads, when we go to away games, we say when Villa play crap, we almost have a better day just because it's a laugh. Like, away days are something else, and I think going to Villa Park, obviously, it's a shorter journey for the majority of us, and we just actually want to see Villa win. But the away days, they are about the day. They're about going to a different place and having a drink and having a new experience in this new town or city or whatever. And if Villa lose, obviously, it's not ideal, but it's all about the fun. It's all about the laughs, all about the drinks and things like that. So look, it's great to be back, and hopefully when away games come back as well, you can have those familiar faces once again. And yeah, there'll be something else as well with those core 3,000, Villa fans in full voice. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, some special people that you get to be with on away days. I'm looking forward to them coming back. And last time we were watching Villa live in the flesh, we were in a bit of trouble. We were a pretty poor side. In fact, when the COVID break came, I was actually grateful for a little bit of respite initially because I really wasn't enjoying what was unfolding. I mean, we've had a decent season, a good season, plenty of progress has been made, but this was a very different Villa side that we were watching at Villa Park on Sunday. It was a really astute performance, I thought, Max.
Yeah, it was really good. And like you touched on, when COVID first struck, it was my last game was the Leicester away game, the 4-0. I remember
The
saying,
horror.
yeah, it was an awful Monday night. They battered us. We were absolutely dreadful. And I remember saying on that day at half time, look, I think that's us getting relegated. And they had that huddle, didn't they, after the cup final? I think it was the week before the Leicester game. And we thought,
Yeah.
right, we might have a chance of, getting ourselves out of this. But even the first few games back after COVID, we were looking dodgy. The 3-0 loss at home to Man United, I remember, was pretty poor. And it looks all but done that we were relegated, and we pulled ourselves out of it. And what a season we've had. Like, it could have been better, but you've got to look in the face of it. 55 points is absolutely fantastic. We see it all over social media. The last 10 years that would have seen you in the top half, whatever it is, the mad stats. So you can't underestimate how far we've progressed this season, from 17th last year to get 20 more points and be pushing.
That's massive.
It's huge. It's huge. And with sort of similar players, you bring in Emi Martinez, these bits of quality as well. Matty Cash, yeah, the bits of quality. But a lot of those players are the same. And it's great to see how many of them have improved as well. Ezu Konsa, Matt Target has been absolutely unbelievable in terms of how much he's just transformed in the space of one season. It's great. So it gives me much more confidence going into next season as well, to see sort of how far can we progress once more when you add 2 or 3 more quality players up to the standards of Martinez, Cash, the players that we brought in last year. So yeah, it'll be great, and hopefully we can be actually in the top half with the points tally we get. And if we progress to anywhere near the point where we did this year compared to last year, it'll be a great year next year for fans to be back as well. I think that'll give us an extra lift on top of that. So yeah, exciting times ahead, mate.
Yeah, it's almost like since we've been away, we've stabilised. Then next season, when we're back, we're gonna have a rip roaring season, having the fans in there, getting behind the team as well. I think it could be something really special next season, and I'm really really looking forward to it. But it was good to see the likes of Martinez, Watkins, Traore, people we've never ever watched live, people we've watched every week on TV. To see them in the flesh at Villa Park, I mean, I'll focus on Watkins because he does so much off the ball. I mean, you see it on TV, but even more so in the flesh. The guy never stops running, and Martinez. He's just absolutely coolness personified in goal. Such a good goalkeeper, and it was great for them to play in front of fans, wasn't it? As well, you could see when Martinez made that save in the second half, and he's like celebrating with the fans. They're the moments that we've missed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think although these players have been fantastic without fans, I just think fans being back and being behind them at Villa Park is going to, take them at that extra level. Watkins, watching him in the flesh is an absolute pleasure. Like you said, you can watch him on TV and say, look, his pressing game, his high press is fantastic, but watch him in the flesh. Like if you watched it on TV, you might not notice that he basically won the corner that led to the Traore goal. Just his chasing down, he never ever stopped. And there's been, a lot of talk today about him and Bamford and who's actually better at what they do. But I just think Ollie Watkins in this side, he's absolutely transformed us because I think, he's the player that we missed last year and we haven't had a striker who's been that good. And it's not just his pressing game. Everybody goes on about that, but he gets goals as well. 14 goals in his debut season or something like that, 14 or 15, whatever it is. That's
5 assists
fantastic
as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he contributes in every single way. So he's a great player. He's only going to get better as well. He's already repaid the fee that we paid for him. When we brought him in, there was a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a stupid amount of money for a Championship player," but he's been brilliant. He's probably been up there with my player this season. Everybody talks about Martinez, and don't get me wrong, he's been brilliant. But just watching Watkins in the flesh as well on Sunday, absolute pleasure. And he's only going to get better. So if you get better players around him, it's scary. It's scary where we could be. It's exciting as well. So yeah, good times.
Yeah, we played really well, didn't we? I mean, it wasn't expansive football. It's never going to be expansive football against Chelsea. We had to dig in. We had to do some defending. I mean, there was a period in the first half where it just felt like Chelsea had the ball for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and we just sat in, defended. One thing we did both notice, because we talked about it during the game, was we knew Villa defended narrow. But God, it looked so narrow in the flesh, didn't it? It was incredible how narrow we defended. In the main, it worked. Although the Chelsea wing backs kept popping up at the back post, and we felt like they were going to score every time they did that. But there was some guts in this team, bodies on the line, and Nakamba was brilliant. Off the ball and getting himself in good defensive positions. And McGinn next to him with Nakamba there, McGinn looks like a completely different player, doesn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, that first sort of 20, 25 minutes was a little bit dodgy. Like you said, they were getting down the sides. Chilwell, Azpilicueta getting down the sides so easily. And Mason Mount, credit to him, he was brilliant. Like he has been all season. He was pulling the string. So it was a nervy sort of first 20 minutes or so. But, I think the fans helped in terms of turning that around
Yeah,
and
they
actually
did.
turning the tides. So you might not have seen that without fans. It might have just been an onslaught for the full 90, but I think the fans helped in terms of, swinging the momentum and hopefully getting Villa up the pitch, which we did, and it resulted in, scoring a couple of goals. So now it's really good. And like you touched on with McGinn, 100%, Nakamba just gives him that freedom, doesn't it, to go forward? I think he had an effort towards the end of the first half, which he opened up his body and just went past the post, that shot. But yeah, it just gives him
we
that
thought
life.
that was in. We thought that was in.
From our angle, we did think that was in. that was an awkward one, but it's just different to Louise, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting what happens over the summer in terms of what happens to Louise. Do you upgrade on Nakamba? Is he good enough to, start in that defensive midfield spot in a top 8, top 6 Premier League side, which we're hoping to be? It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because McGinn is so much better when he's got Nakamba behind him to protect him. But you just sense that when he's got Louise there, he feels a little bit more nervy and that more pressure to stay back on the defensive side of things. So that's a tough one for Dean Smith. It's a good option to have. Do you upgrade on Nakamba, get a better version of him? But is that too harsh on him because he has been decent when he's come in the last couple of games? It's a tough one, but it's a good headache to have for Smith. So Nakamba was great, and he was probably up there with man of the match on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you probably want to cross between Louise and Nakamba. That would be a good player. We need some bit of physicality in midfield. I think that's something that's missing. But the back four worked well, didn't it? Having Konsa at right back and Hawes at centre back, that gave us a bit more presence than we would have, and that's an interesting option going into games against the big six next season, isn't it? Having those four in there the way they are, because the defence doesn't need much improvement. Let's face it. I think we've had the third best defence in the Premier League. There's not much work to be done there, but that was interesting as well, wasn't it? Because again, when we defend so narrow, Konsa at right back actually works really well. I'm not saying for 1 minute Cash shouldn't be in the team, because Cash has been excellent, but for certain games, that's something for the future that we could look at now.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's an option to have for sure, especially with Al Mohammadi leaving. You're looking at, obviously Gilbert's coming back to be backup right back potentially. Is he going to stay? I'm not sure. Touching on Kessler Hayden, who was unbelievable yesterday for the under
Yeah, he
18
was
in
good.
the cup final. He'll be looking to make his way into the first team somehow. But look, it's a great option to have. Konsa can play right back, and he's a more physical presence, like you touched on. It's basically having three centre halves on the pitch, and especially when we're going forward for corners, free kicks, when you've got Courtney Hawes, who's brilliant in the air as well. Mings and Konsa going forward, it gives you that option. Look, is it sustainable? Probably not, but is it an option when you're playing these big sides? Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But yeah, it was a difficult one on Sunday with Chilwell always getting forward and Konsa obviously being a centre back is always likely to drift in a little bit. But look, yeah, it's a great option to have. And Courtney Hawes as well, fair play. He stepped up in recent games. He's been fantastic and playing on the right side when he's left footed as well. It's always going to be difficult for him as well. But credit to him, he's been great. But look, yeah, it's a great option to have, that's for sure.
I just want to give a little bit of praise to Courtney Hawes actually, because he's not played loads of games, but when he's played this season, bit of an unsung hero. Players. It's invaluable having players like that in your squad that don't play every week, but can come in when you need them. Hawes has had an excellent season from that perspective. Every time he's come in, he's not looked out of place, and he's defended really well for us and been a big player in the games that he has played.
Yeah, I think it's a relatively good thing that he doesn't get talked about because that shows that he's doing his job. He's coming in, he's doing his job. And look, not for 1 minute is he going to come in and replace one of Konsa and Mings, that's for sure. And he's probably happy with that. But when he does come in, he's fantastic. And everybody talks about his aerial ability, which is great. And sometimes
Yeah,
you
he's a
see
presence.
when you see stats floating around, don't you, about his win percentage in the air or something like that? He's absolutely great. So look, he's a great option to have. And he may be a little bit nervy with the ball at his feet, but it doesn't matter. He does his job, and he's solid. So yeah, fair play to him.
Attacked at the right times as well. It wasn't like we were trying to break quickly every single time. We were quite measured, I thought, in our approach. We picked the right times to attack and the right times to counter attack and the right times to try and perhaps slow the game down and keep the ball. And 2 goals at really good times, let's face it, just before half time and straight after half time. We couldn't have scored at any better times, really, could we?
Yeah, definitely. I think our game management was really, really good. I think towards the end.
Something that hasn't always been there, to be fair, in the second
Yeah,
half.
yeah, yeah. That's something that Dean Smith has been criticised on a little bit this year, isn't it? And I think towards the end of that first half, Chelsea lost their heads a little bit. I think they got quite a few yellow cards in quick succession. They were hacking at Jack over by the corner flag. I remember we got a few free kicks in decent position. So look, Chelsea lost their heads and we were calm. So credit to us for that. But yeah, the goal before half time was a great time to score, like you said, and it was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? But we scored from a corner. We haven't. I've been the first to criticise our corners this year because we love a short corner and they don't always come off. But look, it was a good routine, a bit of a weird finish from Traore, a bit of a scuff. The keeper goes flying into the post, but it was a great time to score, and that really set us up going into the second half.
Yeah, I don't wonder. Mendy went off at half time, didn't I? Wonder if it was actually banging into the post that
Yeah,
caused
watching
his
the
injury.
replay, he goes
Yeah,
flying into the post.
yeah. I mean, if Traore had caught that cleanly, he probably wouldn't have scored. It was a weird looping scuff, but it worked excellently in off the bar. And then the El Ghazi penalty as well. Some praise for El Ghazi because he's ended the season really well, and he's quite a patchy player at times. He'll score goals in patches, but for a guy that didn't start a game till December, didn't even really come on the pitch until the middle of December when he came on against Wolves in the last 10 minutes. He had a few penalties, but double figures. That's an incredible season from him, and he deserves a lot of credit, especially in line with the abuse he got at the start of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I remember watching one of the early games in the season. I think it was Stoke in the Carabao Cup at Villa Park when we lost. And I don't think he was even in the squad. And that was like our second team. So it's credit to him for his work rate and what he's done to get back into the side and to score 10 Premier League goals in a full season would be incredible. But pretty much only coming in December when he had that mad month where, he scored that screamer against Crystal Palace, scored against Albion, pretty much scored in every single game, Chelsea as well. I think, was it 5 in a row or something?
It was 4 or 5, yeah.
It was unlucky not to get player of the month that month. But yeah, credit to him, his attitude and everything like that. And I think winger is a difficult one because obviously all wingers, it's the cliche, they're always a little bit inconsistent. But when he's got a goals return like that, you can't really complain. He loves the shot as well. You can't complain at that as well because sometimes Villa want to walk the ball into a goal, a couple of times. But credit to him, he's been fantastic and maybe it's given Dean Smith something to think about in the summer because would you have got 2 wingers in? Maybe, I don't know, if this was 7 months ago and El Ghazi wasn't in the side, you would have thought about getting rid of him and maybe bringing 2 wingers in. But now he's going to have a tough option to have when you've got Grealish coming back in and he's going to be playing on the left. So it's going to be a weird one to see what happens next year. But do you bring Jack into the 10 and actually start El Ghazi first game of the season? I don't know. It's a difficult one, but yeah, credit to him. He's been unreal.
I mean, this time last year, we probably would have been sat here thinking we're probably not going to be watching Jack Grealish live in a Villa shirt again. He's had some injury troubles recently, missed 12 games. He's come in for the last 2 games of the season. Villa have picked up 6 points and ended the season on a high. I think it was quite hard for him playing in the 10 actually on Sunday. In the big games against teams like Chelsea where you're not getting a lot of the ball. It sounds stupid. It sounds basic what I'm about to say. Many people won't be surprised by that. It's harder to get him on the ball playing as a number 10 in the games against great teams like Chelsea than it is when he's on the left. And he felt like Villa was struggling to get him in the game at times. But when he was in the game, he's probably at 50-60% match fitness, let's say. He's just such a talent, such a good player, and we're so fortunate to have him. And it was great to watch him live again, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, every time you watch Jack Grealish, it's an absolute pleasure. And I think the word that we used at the weekend was suffocated. Like when we did get the ball in the early parts of that game and Chelsea were all over us, they just nabbed the ball off us. We didn't know what to do with the ball. We kind of just panicked. So like you said, Jack Grealish, when he's in that midfield, it is difficult for him. But when you've got him as an option out on the wing, you can just spray it to him and he's got a little bit more space to work with. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens next season, because I think, there's talk about us bringing in another creative player. And I think when it comes to recruitment in the summer, it's going to be more attacking options rather than the defence, which you've already touched on, because I don't think that really needs too much work, apart from maybe adding a little bit more depth. But in terms of the first team, you don't really need to deal with that. So it's going to be attacking options. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, that's basing this off Jack Grealish staying, which I think he will. I hope he will, obviously. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one. I'd start him on the left, but then again, that begs the question about El Ghazi as well, because you can't leave Traore out and he can only play on the right. So difficult option to have. But look, I think there's going to be recruitment in the summer in that attacking options, and I think we do need a player, not obviously similar to him, but no one's going to be on his level. There's talk about Buendia isn't there and things like that. So does that see Buendia in the 10 and Grealish out on the left? That's probably what I'd hope for, but we shall see.
Yeah, my gut reaction is he'll be here next season. I think we'll get another season out of Jack, but there's no doubting at all that the guy is a Champions League pedigree player. And take your Villa hat off, the guy deserves to be playing in the Champions League, and that's where the talent like him belongs. But I think Villa have a good season next season. You never know, but I think we've got to make strides as a club to keep up with Jack Grealish, because he's an elite level player. And whatever we say, we are not an elite level club at the moment, but we are heading absolutely in the right direction, Max, because I say me and you lucky enough to go to the Youth Cup final last night as well. Again, cracking atmosphere. Great to be there 2 days in a row. And the first 10 minutes, those guys, bloody hell, they do not lack confidence at all. They were not messing around. 2-0 up after 10 minutes, and you were starting to think, this could be one hell of a score here. I should say the home advantage feels very, very unfair in a cup final. It was a massive advantage, wasn't it? The Liverpool players were a little bit overawed in the first half, I thought, by the Villa fans being in there. But there's some incredible talents in that side, isn't there? They're going to be some players.
Yeah, I don't think many of those young lads will have played in front of a crowd like that. And when you're fairly inexperienced like that, I can only imagine how 4,500 fans roaring you on would spur you on as a side. And like you said, there's some brilliant players in there. I think obviously the main names, Louis Barry and things like that. But I was impressed by Brad Young, the striker.
Yeah,
his runs
brilliant.
were absolutely fantastic. He never stopped running all game. He was finding his way into the channel, a little bit like Ollie Watkins as well. People comparing him to Jamie Vardy with his runs and his speed as well. But there's some proper talent in there. We'll talk about Carney as well. He just absolutely ran the show all night, just sort of Paul Pogba in his prime vibes there. He was absolutely fantastic. But look, there's going to be some players there, and it's really exciting because hopefully we'll see some of them more in the first team. We've already seen a couple of lads that came on against Tottenham last week. It's exciting times because those lads there are extremely talented, and hopefully we can see more of them. Because I was excited to go to that game yesterday because I hadn't watched 90 minutes of them. Maybe you can watch the semi-final and the quarter-final of this competition, but seeing them live in the flesh as well, like we've already touched on, it just gives you that different perspective. And those lads are very, very talented, and fair play to them for winning the cup.
Yeah, Chukwuemeka and Louis Barry are obviously the big names. I mean, none of them are big names because no one's done anything in their career yet, but they're the ones that we've all heard about and the ones that we've known as being the next off the production line. But Brad Young actually reminded me a little bit. I mean, you're younger than me. I don't know whether you remember when Robbie Keane first came through. Reminded me a bit of a young Robbie Keane. He never gives up on anything. Very tricky as well. You can compare him to Vardy. And I get that because he's fast and he makes good runs and he presses well, but he's got a bit more skill about him than the Jamie Vardy type player. He reminded me a lot of Robbie Keane when he first burst onto the scene. So he's definitely one to watch. And I found out that West Brom released him when he was 12. Now that's a horrific decision. Now that's looking like a real bad decision from West Brom. But the guy who stands out to me the most, Chukwuemeka, is the big player in that midfield, and I'd been impressed with him in the flesh. I've been impressed with him on the TV, Reiki, in the earlier rounds, just his passing range. But watching him, he's got a hell of a club selection, to use a golf analogy. With every pass he makes, he uses the right technique. He uses the right bit of the foot. The weight of the pass is always perfect. He got the assist for the first goal with a great bit of play down the left. He's a proper midfield player. He's the kind of player I really, really like. His distribution is sensational.
Yeah, he's one of the players that doesn't get talked about. Obviously, you talked about the big names, but you don't really see his name being bandied around a lot. And that assist for the first goal, that was phenomenal. Like, if you saw that in the Premier League, that would still get plaudits in the Premier League. That was unbelievable. And going back to how technically gifted a lot of these players are, like talking about Brad Young as well, I think there was something in the first half where he latches onto a pass and he sort of dribbles around someone and then swivels and hits the post. Like, that just, all these lads are so technically gifted, they're quick, and a lot of them still have growing to do, but some of them do look like men as well. So, credit to them, and it's exciting times. And like I said, hopefully we can see a little bit more of them. Obviously, we're only going up as a club, so does that not work in their favours? But look, hopefully we can see some of them go out on loan, maybe. Maybe that would work well for some of them. But yeah, it's really, really exciting times with the youth, and yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah, the club's done excellent with that. I mean, that doesn't just happen overnight. That's 2-3 years of the club investing, the owners wanting to improve what's going on with the academy, Christian Perslow making decisions. That hasn't just happened overnight, winning the Youth Cup. That's the end. Well, it's not the end. That's near the end of the part of the journey of 2 to 3 years of hard work and making really good decisions behind the scenes with facilities, with backroom staff for the academy. There's been a lot of new people coming behind the scenes at the academy, the infrastructure at Bodymoor Heath improving, and investing proper money, because the last player to come through the Villa Academy properly is Jack Grealish. There's been people who've had fleeting glimpses of the first team, people like Andre Green, who never quite went on to make it. But, before even Jack, it was Gabby that came through the academy properly. It's been a long time since we had some proper first-team players come through this academy, but I think there's a couple in there. I think Chukwuemeka will be part of the first team next season. I actually think Kane Kessler will be the backup right back to Matty Cash next season. Some will go on loan. I imagine Brad Young, Louis Barry, they might get loans, but there's some exciting players there. And the thing I was taken by was the Liverpool players actually look like boys, like you say. The stature of the Villa players, they looked like men compared to them, and it was really encouraging to see.
Yeah, they definitely look rattled in their Liverpool. And if you're a quality young, 16, 17, 18-year-old lad, you're going to look at Villa. You've got the choice of all the big clubs across England. You're going to look at Villa and put them up there with the top academies in the country. You talk about facilities, you talk about the players that are already there. You're going to want to play with the best young talent in England, and us winning the cup just shows that we've got some of that. So yeah, like you said, a lot of them will go out on loan, but look, it's going to be really exciting to see where some of these lads can go in the next couple of years, because look, we've got everything at Aston Villa, and it's good, like you said, it's great to see the owners actually care about pretty much everything across the club.
Yeah.
And that starts with the academy. So credit to them, they've got everything they need there. So it's exciting to see where this team can go, and hopefully a lot of them do make it, whether it's with Villa or not. Hopefully it is, but as long as they make it in football, that's a win for them.
Yeah, I mean, Christine and Bogard, two players we haven't even talked about. It's quite a star-studded side for an academy side, an under-18 side. They were wanted by a lot of teams. Christine was wanted by Bayern Munich. Bogard had a lot of major clubs after him. I read Greg's article in The Athletic this morning, about how much work went in behind the scenes and presentations to get these players on board. And it's these fine attentions to detail that are going to help us grow as a club in the long term. We've talked about the first team. We've talked about the youth team. There's a lot to be excited about as a Villa fan now, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. Even the women's team staying up last game of the season, that's credit to them as well. So it's exciting times pretty much everywhere, and especially with the first team as well. Like, you talk about, would you take Europe next year? Do you think that's going to happen?
That'll be the ambition.
Yeah, that'll be the ambition for sure. And I'd wait to see what happens in the transfer window, but I'd probably take top 8. And then maybe a cup run. I think a cup run. Me and you were talking when Leicester won the FA Cup. We were like, we need to win that cup at some point. We need to win that cup at some point. So I'd take 8th in an FA Cup.
I mean, I'm presuming Monday night was the first time you've seen silverware for Villa.
Oh well, I've been to a few pre-seasons when we've won a few.
Do you see the Cup of Traditions? Did you get that
Yes,
one?
I was there. Yeah.
I mean, that trumps the lot. The Cup of Traditions,
Oh
that
yeah, that
absolutely trumps the lot.
£13 trophy.
Yeah, but it's nice to see. It was nice to see silverware at Villa Park. Let's face it. And it was 2002 was the last time the Villa Academy won the under-18 FA Cup. So it's a big thing. It's a prestigious tournament. It's the best thing you can win as an under-18s, I think.
Yeah, you can see how much they loved it as well. Like all of
Oh
them were
yeah,
absolutely buzzing, and it was great to see. Pretty much the majority of the fans yesterday stay behind to watch them lift the trophy,
yeah.
watch them parade around the pitch and things like that, and just seeing their faces and how excited they were. Like it's just credit to them because they were fantastic, and it's so good to see them so excited about it. And credit like they should be because it's a fantastic thing to win. Like you said, there's nothing better for them.
Yeah, I mean, as an esteemed vlogger, you must have melted your heart when you saw them running in the change rooms after the games to get their phones so they
I
could
know.
put out on this on the
Shocking,
social media what's going
shocking.
on.
That's modern football for you.
Is it? You're not having that. Not having.
No.
It's quite weird. I will say it's quite weird sitting next to you vlogging. I've obviously never sat next to you at a game before. I did find it quite strange when you were just talking to the camera. Like at times, if I wasn't looking at you, I know you're watching the game as well. Like I thought you were talking to me, but you were just looking into a camera and doing your video. It's quite strange watching
Well,
sitting
that's
next
what
to
I
a
wonder.
vlogger. I thought.
Like when people know that I film at games, what do they expect it to be like in real life? Do they expect it to be sort of 90 minutes of me talking to a camera? Was it what you expected?
Because I've spoke to you about it before, like I know that you are watching the game. Like, there's probably a
Yeah,
perception that you're not actually watching the game, but that is absolutely not true. I've sat next to you for 90 minutes, so I know that's not true at all. It doesn't really affect you because you're talking, but you're not looking at the camera. Your camera's like it's
yeah.
weird. Yeah, I can't explain. It was for me as someone who's 35, it was an interesting experience sitting next to a vlogger doing a game. I really enjoyed it. And as I say, if you want to get a taste of the atmosphere, go and look at Max's video on Villa on Tour. I mean, the other thing was you asked me if I could retweet it. I think I retweeted it and had a look how many views. It was only been out about 5 minutes and it was on about 1,000 views or something ridiculous. Like absolutely mad. What the people go mad for vlogging, don't they? But no, it was funny watching the players last night go run into the change rooms to get their phones so they could do content live on Instagram. That is like the modern day, isn't it?
I know. Fair play to them as well. But yeah, going back to the vlogging thing, like it is. I still get nervous doing it. Like it's still strange. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, but even being sat next to someone I'm comfortable with, I do get nervous doing it. But look, it's great to be back and appreciate everyone who's watched it. The support on it's been fantastic. So appreciate all the support on it.
Yeah, it's really good to see. I sat there and watched it and really enjoyed like the relaying of the day, the retelling of the tape of the tale. It was really good. And yeah, you'll be back next season, won't you, doing it again? Because it's been hard for you not doing that. You were trying to do vlogs from home, and it's not the same, is it?
No, especially when we had it, especially going through that difficult patch because we were fifth going into 2021, weren't we? And
Yeah.
then I decided to start doing videos again, and then it all went downhill. Grealish got injured.
Killed our season. To be fair, you did.
Well, yeah, it's a running joke on Villa on Tour that whenever I did a video, we'd lose, and whenever I decide not to do one, we'd win. So it's a funny one, but yeah, look, I'm buzzing to be back. Hopefully, and get a season ticket in the same place, and everything will be back to normal. And hopefully, the Villa on Tour channel will be back to normal as well.
Yeah, funny that you get nervous as well. You've been doing it for so long now. I would never have said. Well, I wouldn't have known that you were nervous anyway. Doing that on Sunday. Let's talk about the Euros then. Mixed day for Villa personnel, really, with the Euro, the preliminary squad announcement. 33 players named, which was a bit of a surprise initially, but there's reasonable reasoning for it. With still, I think there's 12 players still to play or something in the Europa League final and the Champions League final. So anything can happen. There's already problems with injuries as well. So Gareth Southgate decided to name a 33-man squad. Ollie Watkins, Jack Grealish, and Tyrone Mings are in there. Target, I didn't really think was ever going to be in there because I think it's clear that Shaw and Chilwell are the two. As good as Target's been, Chilwell and Shaw are the two best left backs England have got at the moment. And then there's also Saka who can play there as well. So I don't think Target was ever going to be in there. I think Southgate name-checked Trippier in his press conference has been able to play left back as well. Seeing Godfrey and Ben White called up, I think Villa fans are probably a little bit annoyed that Conser's not in there. What have you made of that?
Yeah, I'd go along with that. I can't claim to watch a lot of Brighton this year. Obviously, did they come 17th or 16th in the end? So look, they haven't been.
I couldn't believe Newcastle came 12th on a separate note.
I know they're the
One
place
place
below us
behind
as
us.
well.
What's that all about?
Yeah, that's bizarre how they've just come out of nowhere and
16th
managed to get themselves 12th. But yeah, I think that the centre back issue is one as well with Harry Maguire. Is he going to be injured for the Euros? I think he's just coming back, isn't he?
It's difficult to know at the moment. I mean, Southgate basically said he doesn't know about certain players' fitness at the moment, and I presume Maguire's one of them.
Yeah, I think Conser's the one though. Firstly, credit Mings, Grealish, Watkins. They 100% deserve it. But yeah, I think Conser will feel hard done by. But look, he's still young. I think the World Cup's next year as well. If he keeps on putting in performances like this, Southgate can't ignore him in the England picture for much longer, because his performances are, for such a young lad as well. He's just so calm. He does everything he needs to, and he's fantastic for a lad of his age as well. So look, there's no doubt he'll be involved in the England setup in the future. It's just a shame that it hasn't come now with the Euros, especially with the likes of Ben White. And don't get me wrong, Ben White and Godfrey have had decent seasons, but would you put them above Concert? Is it just being a little bit biased from a Villa point of view? I don't know, but look, it'll definitely feel hard done by, that's for sure.
I mean, he got name checked, didn't he? I think what's counted against him is that Godfrey can basically play right back, left back, centre back. And then Ben White's played right back. He's played centre back. He's played in the back four. He's played in the back three. He's played defensive midfield as well. I think the actual injuries within the squad have counted against Conser. I think let's say Maguire's not injured, I think Conser's in there over one of those two. But I think because of the doubts and because there's multiple injuries within the midfield as well, like Henderson, Phillips perhaps won't make it as well. Now there's just too much uncertainty, and I think multifunctional players like Ben White and Godfrey, they're at an advantage, because in a tournament you might need that versatility. So I think that's probably what's counted against Conser. But I think the fact that he was name checked is a really good thing. I think he'll be involved next season. I think if our defence continues the way it is, a target won't be far away either. All it takes is for something to happen to one of the left backs next season. Not that I wish that on anyone, and I think he'll be involved in England's squad. So it's not too far away, but it's nice to have three players there. It's nice to be annoyed that two of your players aren't there, because for too long there was no one anywhere near the England squad.
I know, yeah, and I think Southgate talks about target as well, didn't he? So it looks like he's definitely got those two in mind, 100%. I just think Conser's played at right back, which is an option, but we've got 4 right backs in the squad already. I don't think we need.
It's a great time to be an English right back, honestly.
I know.
Great time to be alive.
It's a weird one, that, isn't it? But yeah, it's just a shame from him, isn't it? Because he's played so well, and look, like you said, he'll be involved next season, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I will give myself a shameless plug at this point. So I'm involved in the Athletics Euros coverage. There's going to be a daily England podcast from the 1st of June, and I am sharing hosting duties with Match of the Day 2s and loads of other stuff. Mark Chapman, which is a big moment for me. So I'd really appreciate as many people tuning into that as possible. I did record a show tonight about the squad that will be out in the morning with some of the Athletics writers. So yeah, if you're interested in listening to me, interested in England and the Euros, then look out for that. It is free to everyone as well. It's not just for Athletic subscribers, and I believe it's going to be on YouTube as well. So yeah, little shameless plug for me. We'll go back to talking about Villa now. Max, hand on heart, I think we can probably both agree that Grealish and Mings will be in the 26. I think that's a certainty. I'm now killing them here and cursing them, but you would think they'll be in the 26, won't you? Hand on heart, do you think Watkins will be in that final 26?
I mean, look, Kane's going to start. Calvert-Lewin, I think, has had a decent season, although he's faded a little bit from that ridiculous start that he had. I think he'll be second choice striker, that's for sure. But third choice, I fancy him. I don't see why not. Yeah, Ings, maybe previously, but he's gone a little bit quiet.
He didn't even get in the 33.
Exactly. So there's no talk about that. Bamford either didn't get in there. So was he any other strikers in the 33, or was it just Calvert-Lewin, Kane, and Watkins?
Well, I think the issue is that I think Southgate probably thinks Sterling can play as a striker.
Oh God,
Rashford can play as a striker. Yeah. So I think they're operating as perhaps the third, fourth choice strikers in the squad. If we in the 26, I think Watkins will miss out. I think he'll be unlucky. I think it's maybe come a little bit too soon for him. I think he'll miss out. But Calvert-Lewin, his aerial presence, he offers you something different. I think that gets him in over Watkins. But if you're asking me who I'd rather play as a striker, for me, I mean, we might be biased because we watch him every week. It's Watkins, but I think because Calvert-Lewin's something different, I think he probably gets in over him. And then I think because Sterling and Rashford can play up front, and you're only going to be playing with one striker as well, I think he's probably going to miss out. His faith been put in because Tammy wasn't even on the bench for Chelsea. So Tammy, Ings, Wilson have all played for England. You know, he's ahead of them in the pecking order, which is a really positive and good thing for him. And he's had an incredible season, but I think he's probably just going to miss out.
Yeah, it's similar to Conter, isn't it? He's probably just a little bit early for him to be, fully in there. And it's a shame because England have got so many brilliant attacking options. You look on the wings as well. I think we all know what Southgate's going to do. He's not going to. I think the majority of us. I think we were talking at the weekend. We'd start Foden, Grealish, and Kane, but you know that Southgate's going to start Sterling, even though he's had a bit of a shocker of a season. So he has his favourites, Southgate, and we get that, and that might cost us, in my opinion. I don't think he's the man for the job. That's a massive shout, but yeah, it's a frustrating one with the whole England thing. But look, I hope he gets in there, and in my opinion, I think he will. But yeah, hopefully he does.
To be fair, that as I've said it before we started talking about England, there's so many things that can still happen, so many players, fitness on the lines, 2 cup finals to come, anything can happen, and you could end up being the hero for England when you didn't even think you were going to be in the squad. So something might happen for Ollie Watkins, but yeah, we wish all 3 of them the best on international duty, and all the other villains as well that will be going to the Euros. John McGinn, it'd be good to watch him, won't it, in an international tournament. John McGinn.
Yeah, he'll definitely be up for it as well, especially that England game at Wembley. He's the type of character we'd bang up for that, flying into tackles, and hopefully he's on the losing side that day. But look, yeah, it'll be great to see him play for Scotland against England. Hopefully Grealish in there as well. Grealish versus McGinn at Wembley. That's something we want to see.
Emi Martinez has got the Copa America, and Douglas Luiz as well. I think that's on telly at the same time. So we've talked about watching all the football. There's still a ton of football to come in the summer. Do need to give a quick plug to our Luke Roper code. There are other codes that operate on the market, but the best code to use is definitely TVV20 if you want to get 20% off most things at Luke Roper. And once again, thanks to the guys, the team at Luke, for sorting Max and myself out at the weekend. It was really, really appreciated. And I think that does us, Max. You got anything coming up that you want to plug?
No, just keep an eye on the channel. I might do a few Euro pieces on the Villa on Tour channel, so definitely keep an eye out for that one, especially starting next season as well, when we're hopefully all back at Villa Park. Villa on Tour will be back fully, so stay tuned on that one.
Yeah, been a pleasure to talk to you, really. I mean, considering actually neither of us came with any notes or anything, I thought that was a pretty decent chat, wasn't it?
Yeah, not bad.
Professionals, absolute professionals, operating on the Villa View tonight. Don't know when the next Villa View video will be, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we'll be back next season for absolute sure. We've got to sort things out a little bit because we've been doing the Purity post-match points, obviously from home straight after the game. When we're back at games, that absolutely isn't going to work. So we're going to have to find something else to do. So, yeah, we'll work it all out. We'll be back next season. Absolutely no worries about that, to hit it hard and go again for the new season. And, yeah, that's it. Just keep your eye on Max's channel. Keep your eye on The Athletic if you're interested from hearing from both Max and myself. And just thanks so much for your support all through the season, and thanks for all the people that have joined the shows as well. People like Neil, Ty, obviously Dolan, who's on most weeks. There's been people who've come in, Omar, and done shows with us week on week. The Purity for Luke, and it's been great. It's been, although the season hasn't been enjoyable watching from home, it's been great talking to so many people and all the interaction and everyone that tunes in and watches as well. It's always appreciated. And for me personally, all the support I get on social media is absolutely brilliant. And I love all you guys very, very much. Yeah, we'll keep you updated with what's going on in the channel. There'll definitely be some transfer shows, so stay tuned for that. Have a good rest of the evening and rest of the week. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.